Eventually, the whole plan is to kind of get into consulting businesses, and like the day to day. Kind of have no clue what they're doing. And I had a meeting yesterday. The guy's like, I don't know why you're doing this. You should be like a chief marketing officer just for a company, just consulting. So that's essentially the goal. I also do have another side business as well. It's a tech company. We specialize in farming. So yeah, like agriculture. How I got into it is so it's just a bunch of buddies from like since childhood. They're all super techie. They all love different parts of like the business.
Like explain that to me. I want to understand this.
Aeroponics and hydroponics. Are you familiar with that?
Of course.
We grow microgreens. So the garnishes at restaurants that you have, that's what we grow.
For those that don't know, can you explain aeroponics? Aeroponics and hydroponics.
In a nutshell, it's vertical farming. It's indoor farming. There's no soil. It's pretty much water. Hydro is like the plant's just chilling in water. It's like a pool. Versus aero, it's just vertical.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Basem Hanna podcast. Today, I am very fortunate to have my guest, Nick Jongazma from Adzworld, with us. Nick, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
Could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
So my name is Nick Jongazma. I'm the owner of Adzworld. We're a full-service ad agency, and we sell all the billboards all over the world, and that's most likely where you've seen me. And we're going to put this beautiful gentleman on a billboard.
Oh, my God.
At Dundas Square, and stay tuned.
My face never needs to be that big. Okay, so today is exciting for two reasons. One, Nick and I have never met before.
First time.
And actually, like before the podcast started shooting, I'm like, I don't even want to ask you any questions because I'm very excited to have this conversation, and I'd rather be original on camera. And two, we're bringing shishas back, right? This is I don't normally get to smoke shisha with my guests. I've been given the advice that it's somewhat unprofessional. But today I got a Persian brother with me, so we're going old school today.
We're starting it early.
It's Friday, yeah, yeah. Also, it's 10 a.m. So Nick, I want to start this off. We're gonna go way back with a set of lightning round questions because this is our first time meeting each other. I think it would be fun to do that. We're gonna go back and forth, asking each other a few fun whatever questions just to get to know each other and have the audience get to know us. And then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast.
Sure.
So my first question, how old are you?
29.
This guy, look at this. A successful entrepreneur at a very young age.
My question for you, how old are you?
I'm 38.
Does not look a day over 26.
I'm friggin' old AF. Second question, what is the nicest thing you've ever bought for yourself? Like the biggest treat you bought for yourself?
It would be the car that I just bought technically it was my birthday, this like maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And it was just a car that I've always wanted and just kind of just splurged out. And
you're not going to tell us what car it was?
I've always like S-classes. I used to have one and then I got rid of it and I was looking for one again. And then it just kind of happened around my birthday and I just bought myself another one. And
nice.
Just something that I just wanted to get for myself.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. What's your favorite automotive brand?
Ooh, okay. My dream car from when I was a kid is Toyota Supra.
Nice.
So I was very fortunate enough to buy the old Toyota Supra a couple of years ago. I would say that's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But if not that, no, Toyota. Toyota's my favorite. Yeah.
Good.
I'm a basic bitch. Yeah.
So the Supra's a nice car.
Who is your biggest inspiration or role model?
I used to have a mentor. He passed away. He was the gentleman who taught me everything about sales when I went to school for radio broadcast and journalism. He was the guy who kind of set me up for selling and just pushed me to get into selling. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he was, I guess, one of my biggest inspirations. And
do you want to give him a shout out?
Yeah, Jim Craig. Shout out to Jim Craig.
Right.
Rest in peace. He's looking down. He was solid. He kind of taught us everything about sales, but that guy's been around forever, and anyone in the industry knows who he is. So
rest in peace.
Thank you. How did you get into the business that you're into right now?
To real estate?
Yeah.
I got into real estate because when I was younger, I really only cared about money.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up with money, so I wanted it growing up. And during my undergrad, I realized that like the richest people in the world were owners of real estate.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I knew that's where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Things have changed since then, but that's why I got into it.
Yeah.
I actually love real estate now.
Yeah, good.
Okay, last question before we get into it. Uh, what is so predominantly you sell ad space on billboards?
Yep.
What is the most prominent billboard that you own or work on?
Right now, Dundas Square is probably one of the biggest ones in the city. But I have worked on campaigns in the Middle East that are extremely expensive. Like you're looking at like $1 million plus
Per what?
just for like one space, one slot. Like it's pretty big. Like
Really?
like some in Dubai, like they're pretty up there. Yeah.
Damn, dude.
It did end up going through just because it just wasn't like the creative didn't get approved because there's so many restrictions in Dubai
Yeah.
for what it is. But Toronto, Dundas would be probably one of your biggest and
Very
most
cool.
expensive and just a statement piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
So
It's like our Times
it's
Square.
our Times Square.
It's
Yeah,
our Times Square.
essentially. Yeah.
Is it still called Dundas Square?
Still Dundas Square?
Yeah.
They haven't changed it yet to whatever they're going to call it. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, everyone's still going to call it Dundas Square.
For
So
sure, bro. I'm still calling it Ryerson.
yeah, or like Sky Dome. Still, people still call it. So
Fact.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody calls it the Rogers Center or
No,
whatever it is. Yeah,
No. Not unless you're young.
yeah.
Let's kick it off. So I really do want to learn about the journey because you are a very successful young entrepreneur. Can you like walk me through like where you went to school
For sure.
and like how did you get to what did you do before this?
So I'll start off from high school, kind of. I wasn't actually supposed to go into this at all. I was supposed to become a chef.
Okay.
Yeah, so my passion is actually culinary arts and food. I just love food. My dad's actually a chef by trade as well, so that's kind of where it all stemmed from. Even younger, when I was younger, just getting in the kitchen and just cooking, that's just always where it was been. So I geared everything towards my whole high school career to go getting into culinary school, and I was doing like really good in like school for like food and nutrition. I was getting like 9.9, like to the point where I was tutoring kids in my class on how to cook.
Oh, amazing.
And a lot of them, funny enough, now are real estate agents, and they're like, yeah, like we didn't know if we are gonna do it, but ended up applying for culinary arts at George Brown. The program was so small that they only were taking around 30 people. I was 31, and out of that 30, just because I guess the class was just so everyone was just interested in doing it.
Right.
So I didn't get into it, and then I'm just like, okay, you know what? I don't want to take some time off. I was at the time I was DJing too, and I applied for radio broadcasting journalism. So I applied at Seneca and I applied at a bunch of other locations. Belleville Loyalist College actually accepted me, and I accepted the offer. And I was thinking about shit. I have to go on like residence and all this stuff, and I don't want to. So I accepted on a Monday. On a Thursday, Seneca York accepted me. I canceled my Loyalist, and I ended up going to Seneca York.
Okay.
My whole thought was going to be, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this for maybe like first semester, second semester, and then I'll transition into like culinary. I get into Seneca York for radio broadcasting. Again, program super, super competitive. It's like 150 students, and each class is taking about 30. So I ended up getting into the 30, did it for about a month, started to really like it. And I just liked writing newscasts and just, talking on air. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be the next like on-air host.
Right.
Not knowing like what they make and like I didn't know anything about it. I was like very young, still naive, didn't know, like I was like, oh, okay, it's going to be good enough, but it wasn't. Because your average on-air host doesn't make that much money, and everyone thinks they make crazy money, but they don't. And a lot of people are going to get upset that I'm exposing this, but like you got
How much does an on-air host make?
You'd be surprised, man. It's like some of them are making like 60, 70 grand a year.
Which is not a lot to live on in Toronto, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's
So
tough. Yeah.
smaller market, maybe less.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something I wanted to do. And I did it for about first semester I did it, second semester I did it. And that gentleman that I told you, Jim Craig, he was my sales professor. And he was kind of the reason why he's like, listen, if you want to make money, you got to go into sales.
Right.
Forget about everything else. You'll be able to do that one day, but just focus on sales. He's like, trust me when I tell you, sales is the way to go. And he's been with multiple stations, and I ended up doing that. I loved it. I completely forgot about culinary arts, and it kind of worked out to be a blessing because a lot of my other friends ended up going into culinary and they hated it and they completely got out of it.
Really?
And my dad's always like, listen, like you shouldn't get into it just because of the hours. You're not going to have any time with the family, whatever the case may be. My best friend actually owns a restaurant as well, and he barely has time to do anything. So I see what he meant now.
Right.
That being all said, when I was in school, you needed 100 hours of community service. Sorry, not community service, like in hours of internship sort of thing. Applied at a bunch of radio stations. Nobody accepted me. The only one that did was the 103.
Nice.
And that was just based off of a relationship that I knew.
Shout out to the Evanoff group.
Shout out to the Evanoff group.
Yeah.
Tony Monaco,
Yeah.
Matt, Paul Evan, all those guys. So Tony Monaco was the one who got me the internship. I did it for about 2 months. I was the first student in my, in my program that was still in school, getting paid, and just finished a part in like internship as well.
Yeah.
And I was hiring all my friends to come and work, and so I did that for about a year. Realized, promo's not for me. I'm not making money. And I applied for a sales position, zero experience. This was like, I think I was like 19 at the time.
Right.
Went to the interview. Sales manager at the time was like, why should I hire you? I tanked the interview like completely. I left. I came back again in November. And we had another interview again. And he's like, why should I hire you? I'm like, listen, like, I think with the right guidance, like bullshitting. I'm like, yeah, with the right guidance, I think I'd be great. And he's like, okay, you know what? I don't think you're ready yet, but we have a marketing seminar coming up. If you can secure X amount of people for the seminar, I'll consider, putting you on the team. So I'm like, okay.
Give you a little test.
Yeah, give you a little test and see if like, you can bring all these people. So start getting on the phone, calling all the people that I know. I ended up securing like 30 people to show up to the seminar, just like people that I've like wrapped my car or like, did my tints or just like with someone that I knew. So just all like the people I've met over the years. Did that for about a week and a half. And I think towards the seminar, I closed close to 100 grand in my first week. And I had no experience and it was just all relationships.
Damn.
And my last meeting, I remember it was a company in Vaughan. They literally said to my manager, like, we're only signing this because of Nick. So they signed, we come out, my manager's like, do you think I should hire you? I'm like, it's up to you. And then kind of just the rest was history from there. And did that for about 5 years at Z103. And I shifted, I'd say in 2018 to starting Adzworld, which is a full service ad agency.
Right.
And the reason why I left was just, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be able to offer more clients, more services, and just be able to take care of them. People don't like to deal with many people. They'd rather just deal with one person who can kind of just take care of them in every aspect. And
for sure,
customer service is huge, in my opinion. And I feel like there's a lack in customer service when it comes to these big corporations.
Right.
We were talking about this even earlier.
Yeah.
But that's essentially why I started Adzworld. So we're a full service ad agency. We specialize in radio ads, TV ads, billboards, social media management, brand development. So anything that has to do with advertising, we do. And we don't do that cookie cutter campaign. We like to go a little bit outside the box and push boundaries and limits. And
so like listen, when I first found out that we were doing a podcast together, I honestly thought you only did billboards.
More, yeah.
Really?
But the billboards is just what's been so busy, and that's kind of what everyone knows me for.
Yeah.
But it all started selling radio ads. I used to sell Airstays, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like if you were like to do percentage of your business that is like billboards, radio ads.
Now I'd say roughly it's about 75% billboards.
Right.
And I'd say 25% is radio, and the other stuff will also kind of just throw in with the radio, but it's mostly billboards, yeah.
Now, do you own the billboards themselves?
So no, I don't own any of the boards. I have partnerships in place with different vendors.
Where you have like exclusivity over like a board or certain times?
Or yeah, I'll just sell them because I deal with such high volume that I get preferred pricing, but I don't own any other billboards. Most of these companies don't actually own any of the billboards as well.
Right.
You can, for example, be an owner of a plaza and you have a billboard on top. You'd be giving that space out. You'd be renting it essentially to these guys, and they'll be renting it out. So
okay, so they'll just get a head lease, and then everybody like.
But there's so many rules and regulations now. You have to pay property tax on billboards. You have to pay all this other bullshit fees.
Really?
Yeah, it's hectic.
So it's that's a different business in itself.
That's a different business.
Like real estate business.
It's almost like real estate, but it's kind of just like, if you own the plaza, you might as well just sell the billboard yourself. But a lot of the time, people just don't know where to go. But it's just,
Okay, so you get into this. So 5 years ago, you started Adzworld?
It'd be 6 years this year. Yeah.
6 years. Yeah. Okay, so that's amazing.
It's growing,
again, like you're 29, so like this is like,
that's the other thing. Yeah. So I started really young. Yeah.
That's amazing. What is the most fun part of your business? Or what brings you joy? Like where does the passion come from to do something like this?
It's just helping businesses. I generally just like to help people, and sure, it's great to do like these fun campaigns, but the fact that you can get creative with businesses and help them grow and actually see them, develop something and just build what they have. I think that's what brings me that joy. Working with, let's say, a restaurant that has no idea what branding is, and their food is so great, but they have no clue what social media is, and coming in and helping them with this, and then seeing in like 4 or 5 years down the line that they're doing so well and they're now one of the staples in the city. I think that's what brings me the joy, and just helping people and working on some cool campaigns, meeting some cool different people. Every day is different for me. Some days I'll be meeting like corporate execs. The next day I'll be meeting someone who you'll never even think has a business, but is killing it on sort of one avenue. Or the next day I'm meeting like a local artist. It's just all over the place. It's not necessarily just one structure. But yeah, that's
who. So okay, so you obviously with Adzworld, you get to meet a lot of people. Who's like the most famous person that you've or most notable person?
So I wouldn't say it's more Adzworld days. I think it would be more Z103 days. We're just meeting a lot of like artists and celebrities.
Right.
I've partied with Tiesto. I've met Chris Brown. I've met
Oh, no way.
Nav. Yeah. I've met a lot of cool
That's
people, like a lot of
wicked.
DJs. So I think those were the days that I met a lot of the cool people. Now it's kind of just like things got a little bit more boring because I'm not around that whole radio scene, but I still go by. I still see the guys. I still see like what's going on. But yeah, I met a lot of celebrities. I've actually like held a camera to interview like a celebrity at the backstage of like a music festival. So I met a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it was fun while it lasted. And obviously DJing and stuff, you meet like some cool individuals too.
So do you see yourself like doing this like forever into the future, or like, or I guess the better question is like, what's the evolution? Like, what you're now doing this, like how does the business grow from here?
For sure. So eventually the whole plan is to kind of get into consulting route, consulting businesses, and less of like the day-to-day, because there's so many businesses out there that kind of have no clue what they're doing. And I had a meeting yesterday. The guy's like, I don't know why you're doing this. You should be like a chief marketing officer just for a company, just consulting. So that's essentially the goal. I also do have another side business as well. It's a tech company. We specialize in farming. So yeah, like agriculture and all that. So that's essentially where it's going to go into.
Like what's
how I got into it is so it's just a bunch of buddies from like since childhood. They're all super techie and they all love different parts of like the business, and I'm coming in as almost the sales and marketing. But
like, explain that to me. I want to understand this.
Aeroponics and hydroponics. Are you familiar with that?
Of course.
Yeah. So we essentially do aeroponics, hydroponics, but we grow microgreens.
Okay.
So the garnishes at restaurants that you have, that's what we grow. So we're actually
like indoor cultivation.
Exactly.
So for those that don't know, can you explain aeroponics? Aeroponics and hydroponics. I know these terms from like my cannabis days. I used to be involved in a cannabis company.
Yeah.
But that's like my old life. Explain.
So in a nutshell, it's vertical farming. It's indoor farming. There's no soil. It's pretty much water. Hydro is like the plant's just chilling in water. It's like a pool. Versus aero, it's just vertical and it's just like getting shot. Yeah. So
shot with like aerosol, like nutrients and all that stuff.
So it's a little bit more complex than that. Once the farm is done, 100% come by, take a look.
Yeah.
But
where is it?
It's in Uxbridge right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where the farm's at. But yeah, like that's where the next sort of transition is. And obviously bringing that whole advertising and marketing side into it is what's going to be cool, because thinking about produce, nobody really thinks it's fun or sexy or interesting.
It's not.
And but what we're planning on doing it is we're going to make it something that's appealing and people are going to be liking it and all that. So that's where kind of the Adzworld route comes into it, and just making a difference. Which essentially the whole goal behind it is sustainable farming. There's no reason why a lettuce head needs to be like $10 a head at a prime. So we're trying to bring the prices back down, quality food, just quality products. And that's just essentially what our mission is, and just helping and hopefully be able to set something up like this in a third world country that doesn't have access to the same things that we do here, and at a fraction of the price. So
that's really cool, and I can't believe that that's your side hustle, because that's like that's actually like a very of the times, like on point. Like that could end up being your main thing.
Yeah, it could be most likely. Point. Yeah, it probably will.
What is the biggest professional mistake that you've made?
Partnering up with people that just weren't good partners. I think finding a good partner is hard. And I had a meeting yesterday with a client, and he's like, I don't think there's a perfect partner. I think it's all God sent at this point.
Right.
But yeah, just dealing with people that are just poor partners and they're not pulling their weight. I work hard. I'll always be on top of things, and finding someone that's very similar to that aspect is hard. And I've had some shitty partnerships in the past, and you kind of learn from that, and you're just careful when you move forward. But just finding someone who's on the same wavelength and just being able to keep up with you, I think, is the most important part.
Were you born in Canada?
I was born in Vancouver, yeah.
In Vancouver. Yeah. And where are your parents originally from?
Iran, yeah.
Iran?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they immigrated here. Yeah.
So you understand. So a big part of doing this and why I do this is like I came from Egypt when I was 5 years old with my parents.
Yeah.
I've seen like the immigrant like hustle. I've been a part of it, and like the building yourself up in this country. Like I think that it's really important for people to understand that there's a lot of similarities between like different groups of people, and we kind of all go through the same struggle, but we never really talk about it.
Yeah.
Did you go through something like that, or how long have your parents been here?
They've been here since like the mid to late 80s.
Okay,
So
which
they've
is
been
when
here
we came here.
Yeah. So around the same time, probably.
Yeah.
And they obviously dealt with most of the struggle, like compared to us. Like we haven't really dealt with anything that, like the stories.
Well,
that
you kind of see it, right?
Yeah,
like you see it as you're growing up, but you don't really realize.
Like my sister, like I have a sister, so she's probably seen it more than I have because she was born there as well. I was born in Vancouver, so I only saw like towards the end. But yeah, you see obviously the struggle and like what it is, and how obviously they've gone through all these steps to make it easier.
Right.
And yeah, it sucks that they're getting older, and it's probably like one of the saddest things seeing them just, age. And I don't think, and like personally, I don't know. I think immigrant parents, they haven't really lived because they're living so much for their kids that
for sure.
It's sad to see that, they're getting older, and they put all their effort and energy into the kids, and now they haven't really lived, and hopefully, they get to relax and chill out now. But they're always worried about the kids, no matter what the age is. It's a Middle Eastern thing. And
oh man, listen, I think that, I mean, generally, like I have kids, so like I kind of understand the sentiment. Like like it's like somebody described this for you. Like having kids is like having your heart outside of your body.
Yeah,
and you're always just worried about your heart, like in its different environments. Do you see yourself as a leader in your community and your friend group?
Yeah,
yeah,
I do. I'm always like, because from a young age, I was the one who started the corporate job, like probably ahead of most of them. I was the one who started the business way advanced compared to all my other friends. It's always like I'm the one guiding them. And the interesting part is I'm always guiding, but no one's really guiding me. So I always have to find like an older person to guide me, just because my friend group, they'll try to guide me to a certain extent, but a lot of them are not understanding the kind of hustle, and the circle gets smaller and smaller as the years go by.
For sure.
So the ones that I do have now, they kind of understand, but there's so many that they get upset because I work late hours, or I'm not able to, even right now, I'm sure like someone's messaging me and they're like, well, why aren't you replying back? It's like they don't understand like what's going on. But yeah, I try to guide them as best as I can.
Yeah,
I try
smoking shisha, and talking podcasts.
That's it. So I try to guide them. I try to give them advice. I'm not a fan of the whole 9-to-5 corporate life.
Right.
And I try to push all my friends to do more bigger things. And because I know a lot of them have it in them, and a lot of them don't like that because it's uncomfortable for them. But I'm always trying to push them. I'm always trying to help. And if I can help in any way, I always try to do so. But yeah, I'm always kind of the person in the group that they come to for advice, or just
okay. So I don't want to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
But because of the world that you live in, and the reach that you can have, like give back is a very important thing to me. And I get the sense it's probably the same for you.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do something special today. Like, and believe me, we have not talked about this in advance, so you can tell me no.
Yeah.
But you're in the unique position where you could boost somebody. You could put somebody on that maybe doesn't necessarily need it, or doesn't necessarily have the ability to,
For sure.
or even know that somebody like you exists. Are you down to do a little? Yeah, again, like, bro, we can cut this if you don't want to. Okay,
don't cut it at all. Let's do it. Yeah.
You have access to space at Dundas Square, right?
Yeah. Let's do Dundas Square.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Actually,
Let's do it.
That's okay, bro. This guy's in my mind.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's set some parameters. Like, let's go free flow. Like, the questions are done anyways.
Okay,
so
done.
What does it take to, like, how does ad space work at Dundas? Like, I need to understand this for us.
So there's different locations. There's, for example, the smallest location is a network of 5 screens. It's a 15-second spot. It's in loop with other clients. Then you got big screens that are, let's say, on top of the Shoppers, or on top of the old Adidas store, or connected to the Eaton Center. It kind of just all depends on preference, like which one you like.
What? Okay, so the small one is 5x5. Like you said, it's 5 screens.
It's 5 screens. It's like it's called Media Tower. It's got 4 screens, and it's got a 5th screen a little bit further down in the square. That's the one we can 100% give away. That's honestly one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest one, but I think it's the most effective because when people are walking by, they can see it.
What is the biggest one?
The biggest one would be the one attached to the Eaton Center.
And how much does that cost?
That one right now is like $8+ for the day.
For the day.
Yeah.
Okay. What if we could get like somebody to like sponsor that?
Yeah,
Like
no
we
problem.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Like we can figure this out behind the scenes.
Yeah,
But
sure. Let's do
I
it.
like if we give somebody like let's put somebody on.
We could do it even bigger. But yeah, if we find a
No,
sponsor.
brainstorm with me, bro. Come
So yeah,
on.
we'll do the big one. Plus, we'll do the small one. Like we'll make it look like they're taking over Dundas.
Actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the parameters of this?
Well, what do you want to put up? As long as it's no alcohol, no drugs.
No. I don't mean like
Yeah,
okay.
so
So
that, yeah, we're
like
good.
let's think about like how we're gonna like push this like on social. Like
We can.
we're gonna advertise this as a free giveaway.
Yeah, we can
like,
do a free giveaway. We'll just
An entrepreneurship starter pack.
yeah, we'll pull up to the square. We'll make a video and just have people enter, tag their friends, tag business owners,
Okay.
and just create some buzz from that, and then just do a random pick and see who makes the cut.
Actually,
Yeah, let's
this
do
will
it.
be wild.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so if let's do like a little thing. So if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, and you want, is it a day?
It's a day.
It's a day, and you want a day of advertising at Dundas Square. You're gonna take. It's gonna look like you're taking over the square. Nick and I will sponsor this, so it's free to you, and we'll boost your business. We'll get you something. We'll get you set up so that it looks like I can't like, bro. I kind of want this for myself.
Yeah, we can. Why not?
That's all right.
We could put you up at Dundas. We could put you on the Gardner. We could put you anywhere in the city.
I think that would be wild.
Yeah.
Man. Have you ever done something like this before?
No, but I was planning on doing it. But yeah,
Actually?
yeah, we'll beat it to the punch. But yeah,
Oh my gosh,
it worked
okay.
out. But yeah, no, I was planning on doing a bunch of giveaways this year.
Yeah.
For some boards in the city. But yeah, we've
So,
done. Yeah,
This could
we've
be
done some stuff where we've given back, not necessarily business owners. And I was telling you this earlier.
Yeah.
We've done one with Zach from MD Motivator. Shout out to Zach, solid guy.
He's
Honestly one of the nicest people I think in this world, and he has his energy. Like if you ever meet him, like you'll leave that conversation with like a boost of energy, and you just feel great.
We
But
should loop him into this too. I'm sure
we should, yeah, 100%.
like,
Zach would be,
he would
of course,
like
be
love
down, yeah,
to.
yeah.
Bro, this could be something really cool, man. Like
Yeah, we
like
can.
it. Look, I think that as we achieve success, you know, I'm a big believer in like if God blesses you and He gets you to a point where you're ahead and you have the opportunity to look back, you got to bring people onto the boat with
For
you,
sure.
You know,
100%, you have to.
right? So like this is the power of advertising is so underappreciated. I think
Especially
sometimes-
traditional. Everyone's thinking digital and like this whole online route is the best way to go, but more and more businesses are realizing that the traditional way will always be there.
Yeah. And like foot traffic is foot traffic,
Yeah.
right? Like being able to like how many people flow through Dundas Square on any given day?
it's tons. Like
Yeah.
there's certain days that are busier, like Fridays and Saturdays. It's like they have like block parties at this point, and guys are pulling up with their cars, and they're like dancing and singing. So yeah, no, Dundas is like one of my favorite locations, and
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is it the most foot trafficked or notable spots that you advertise in?
yeah, but surprisingly, and this is going to shock a lot of people, Yonge and Eglinton has a network as well.
Yeah.
That area has more traffic than Dundas.
Like car traffic or
Yeah,
foot traffic?
car traffic and foot traffic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
So that could be another area. Like we can do tons. We can do a giveaway where we're not necessarily at Dundas. We're giving them a location that's closer to their business, and it's obviously more lucrative than just one day. Like we can do one where we're giving away a billboard for a month, so they're actually going to see a result. Because the Dundas stuff is cool. It's
Okay,
more
well, let's talk about that. Like, I don't want to, like, it's cool to have flash.
Yeah.
But
so
if
anyone
you're
who does
really
Dundas, this is the first thing. It's for optics.
right.
It's not like you're gonna do a billboard at Dundas and all of a sudden your phone's gonna be ringing off the hook. Like that's
Okay.
not a thing. Unless it goes viral, sure, that's one thing. But it's more for the optics. It's just for the Instagram pic.
But okay, so I think that's cool,
Yeah.
and maybe that's something. But I really do want this to be something that helps,
For sure.
like the winner or the business owner that gets this. You're in the advertising and like basically marketing consulting world. If we were going to do this and we want to do this properly with the motivation of helping their business, like
Yeah.
I get clout, like, but maybe that's
Mostly
not
to help, yeah.
What is the thing that we could actually give away that would
I think finding
the most?
I'd say let's do a billboard campaign for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on who wins, we'll find out locations in their area and we'll do something that actually is gonna work in that pocket of location. So if let's say it's a shawarma shop in like Mississauga,
Yeah.
where they end up winning, and there's like 5 billboards in their vicinity, we'll pick one of those locations. We'll give them a billboard in their area that's gonna do
help traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
And will we be able to like track results? Be like,
so with advertising, there's no guaranteed results ever.
No, I get it, but will we? Is there metrics that you can use to?
So what we can do is I can obviously go over the analytics of how many people are visiting the location, and then if you want to go a little bit more in depth, you can put a QR code on the billboard and have people scan it, and you can kind of see on the back end how many people scan it. We did a campaign 2 years ago for a developer, and we put a massive QR code, and people didn't think it was going to scan, but you drive by, it'll scan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got like 10,000 scans in a month. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think that's kind of like.
That's where you got to go with it. You got to make something that's going to be out of the box. Like you can't just put up a picture saying and a logo saying this is what it is.
Yeah.
If you can put up a logo saying scan me or like don't scan me, that's when people are like, yo, why is this guy telling me not to scan? Let me scan it.
Yeah.
You have to do stuff that's going to stand out. The traditional stuff does not work. Like even for real estate agents, I always rip on them. But having a picture of you with your arms crossed.
Tough life, man. Real estate agents.
It's tough, but like you need to get creative.
Yeah.
You can't just put up a picture with your arms crossed and like a Lamborghini in the back saying, go come talk to you. Like nobody cares about that. So if you put up something where it's like, don't call me, or like, I'll call you, don't call me, people are like, yo, I like this. Like, let me call them.
I like that too, actually.
Yeah.
I want to scan. Yeah. Don't tell me what to do. Yeah.
So you got to do something like that. And that's obviously what we'll work on with the giveaway winner. So yeah, it's got to just be out of the box and something that's going to just.
Funny, I'm so excited by this.
Yeah,
I think we're actually going to make a real impact in somebody's life.
Yeah.
And
we could document it all from like the beginning to the end, so we can see how the owner is going to react. Like I'm planning on doing a giveaway, and I don't want to say it yet because I don't want them to hear, but I'm planning on doing a giveaway for someone that's in my life as well, that he's helped me with a lot, and I'm going to give him a board too. Yeah. And he has no clue.
Really?
But we're gonna document them, and it's not for the cloud. It's just to actually see people's reaction of like how something so old school can make someone so happy and like actually like make an impact on their life and business.
Bro, I think like the fact that you're saying yes to this like shows me like the essence or like your character.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you saying yes on the spot.
Of course, yeah.
I think that with a little bit more probably off-camera planning, we can make this into something very special.
For sure, and it could be something long-term too. It doesn't have to necessarily just be like a one-time thing. It could be something that we do it every couple months, and we just kind of help different people.
Man, I think that like to me, if that's all we get from today, like that is. Bro, this like it fills my heart on a Friday. Yeah. This is like the best. What do you do for fun?
I'm a car guy.
Yeah, same.
So whether it's just searching for cars and trying to buy the next
what's your like dream car?
I'm a classic guy. So I think like a old like Gullwing, like a 300 SL Gullwing. I love those. Yeah,
you're a Mercedes.
I'm a Mercedes guy. I got 2 classic Benzes, like so. I'm a Benz guy.
Okay.
But like a Ferrari is cool, like an Enzo. But I'm not a Lambo guy.
Yeah.
Not really for me. Not a BMW guy anymore.
No.
BMW shifted over the years, so I don't know.
Dude, I've had a couple of BMWs.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay, man. Honestly, like the M5 is
a cool car.
It's like the best.
Yeah. I like the older Beamers, so like the E46 M3.
Yeah.
Like the old school 8 Series, the old M5s.
Yeah. Those are all very fun cars.
Yeah. The M5 is cool though.
Yeah,
it's quick.
Do you do any like investing or non
investing
work related stuff?
Yeah, of course, investing like stock market and stuff.
Yeah,
I'll invest in crypto and stuff. I don't really look into.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, I never really was behind it. I never really understood it. Like I get it, but it's not really for me. I have other people who do it. I see it go up and down, but I just kind of stayed away.
As of the time of this recording, Bitcoin I think is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And it's like going through the roof. One of my best friends he runs what I would call like a Bitcoin bank. It's called Ledin. So
I've seen them. Yeah.
They're a really big deal. He started that with another buddy of ours from university, and it's going to the moon right now. So
I think it's definitely the future. I just think not a lot of people are educated enough in it, so that's why people are kind of hesitant about risking it, investing in it. But I think there needs to be some sort of someone needs to come in and just educate people and explain how it's done and kind of iron out all the kinks, because people are kind of scared. They're like, oh, we don't know what's going on, and I think that's when it'll get even more popular and more busy. So,
dude, man, like if you've been to the if you've been to like a third world country or a country that experiences hyperinflation,
Yeah.
like I know it's not a big deal in North America, but if you go to like South America or the Middle East or anywhere where there's like restrictions and the money fluctuates, like it's a big deal over there.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not listen, weird. Neither of us are in crypto, so this is like way
like me trying to explain to my dad, like, okay, you should buy Bitcoin. He's like, what is this? Like,
he's
gonna be like, no, put your money into gold. They're like, put your money into this, like old school, like
digital gold.
Yeah,
that digital gold.
But it's that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of people, like all of my friends are invested in it, and they've obviously they made their money in it. But I'll make my money in other things. Like people think cars are not assets. The right car is.
Yeah.
So you just got to be smart with what you pick and choose. So,
dude, I completely agree, man. My Supra goes up in value every year.
Yeah. My classic Benz is when Mercedes stopped making the V8s, it just shot up. So that's what it is.
It's absolutely right.
You got to be smart with it. And again, it just comes to education. People are not educated in the car market to know that it goes up. They're always scared that no, like it's going to drop in price. It's the same thing with Bitcoin.
So I want to circle back to something that you said at the beginning of this, because I think we didn't really emphasize this enough. When you were first trying to figure out your path, like you applied to a culinary program, it didn't work out for you, right? So you experienced failure.
Of course.
Talk to me about how failure impacts you and how you deal with failure. Not just there, but in general.
Of course. Like I've opened up another business during the pandemic. It didn't do well. After a couple of years, I shut it down. It's kind of just, I think it's almost like a blessing. You kind of realize, okay, you know what, you did something, you got the experience, and you just learn from it. You use that to help yourself grow, and eventually something from that business or whatever you're dealing with that didn't go right will come back to you in the future and will help you shift into a more positive and, in a better way. And you'll look back and you're like, oh, wow, like I'm glad that happened because now you learned this, or like, oh shit, I'm glad this happened because, I would have never met this person or vice versa. So.
Do you ever find yourself making the same mistake, or like if you like life tries to teach you a lesson and you maybe don't pick up on it the first time? Like, how do you know that like you're going down the wrong path? I know we talk about going down the right path a lot because it's really easy to talk about when it's going right, but how like what's your evaluation process for when you're like, shit, man, maybe I'm not doing this right?
So it'll be a time where it's like for example, like I don't know, business is like super slow, and I'm just like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Like clearly I'm trying. I feel like I'm burnt out, and then something will pop up, and it's just like, okay, well, what have I try to almost like evaluate like, okay, well, what was I doing last year this time? Like what have I done different? Like I'll get into my head a little bit,
right? Of
like, okay, what's different? Like what am I doing wrong? Like I'll try to talk to people, and then I'll talk to a few people and they're like, no, you're killing it. This is something. No, I'm not, man. Like I'm really not. Like it's not what you think it is. And then I think, and I'm just like, maybe I'm too hard on myself. So there's a lot of components that I think about, but it's just about like thinking, okay, you know what have I done differently in the past year? What am I doing now? And kind of just try to go over both of them and just compare, okay, you know what?
Like isolating, trying to find, isolate the problem.
And then, try to see, okay, you know what? Last year I was doing this, or like this year I was doing this, or like, okay, maybe I should go back to those roots, or like going into the new year this year, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go back to how I was like 2019 and like, like super driven and like, not, more relaxed and comfortable. Cause obviously, as time goes by, you get comfortable and you try to get to the stage and it gets difficult. So even like podcasts, like there's so many people that message me and like, I just would isolate myself because it's like, fuck, like, I don't know, am I going to be behind? It's like, no, man, just get out there, just do it. Like, it is what it is. Like,
So have you ever seen, it's an old movie, I think it's called Yes Man. Like it's Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Where the guy's always saying no, and then like he starts saying yes to everything.
Where
I took that approach in my life. I'm gonna say like 5-6 years ago, where I was like right after I exited TerraSend. So my story is I was in real estate for a long time, probably like 8 years. 2014 to 2018, I had. I started one of the first licensed producers in Canada, and then we sold it at the peak of the market. And then I went back into real estate doing much bigger stuff like developments, like full-blown condo developments, which is what I do now. And honestly, when I start my pre-sales for my first project, I'll probably hit you up for advertising.
No problem.
But I got to a point where I was comfortable. It's funny that you said it, because I was actually very comfortable, and I found myself, I'm just like, why am I sad? Like why is, like, I have things that I'm like, God bless me, and but I'm sad.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, like, the journey's the fun part. The goals are nice, and it's great to, like, get trophies and like whatever your life milestones are. But so I started saying yes. Like, people would tell me something, and I'd be like, normally I'd be like, I don't know, I don't want to, I'm lazy, or this isn't vibing with me. I just started saying yes to random things, right? And my life changed, got very busy, and you do have to pull back every once in a while.
Yeah.
But saying yes, like getting outside of your comfort zone, like, that's where the fun is. That's where it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. No, like, you got to say, yeah, like, it's got to be in the right situation. Like you said, pulling back. So you can't always say yes to everything. You kind of got to sometimes say no. And I think that's what people have a hard time saying is, oh, let's go hang out. Let's do, no, like, I need to, like, do this. Like, just kind of get peer pressure. But yeah, obviously getting out of your comfort zone and just saying yes. And there's been times where I don't want to do something and I end up doing it. I'm just like, shit, I'm glad I did it, because, like, I met someone cool, or, I got to experience this, or so I've obviously experienced a lot in the past, like, I'd say, like, 12 years that your average 29 or 30-year-old hasn't.
Right.
And that's why a lot of times when my friends do want to do things, it's like, man, I've done this. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, going to clubs. Like, I used to do that when I was like 19, 20, 21. Like, I have no interest in going at this age. Like, I'd rather just do something else. But no, I definitely agree. Like, there's times where I think I got comfortable and I did get sad, just because it feels like you're almost in like a cruise control, and you have no idea like what's wrong. You almost think like you're depressed, but it's hard to explain it. Someone has to really understand it and be in it. But
you'd be surprised. I think as people listen to this, like, they will resonate with what you're saying right now, because it's not unique to you or me.
No, for sure.
To go through that. Like, and it's not unique to entrepreneurs. It's just like everybody gets in ruts, right?
Yeah.
And I think what we're trying to, or like, I think what we're describing right now is your process and my process for how you get out of a rut, right? And I think, like, to evaluate and to, like, understand that, what was I doing when I was happy versus what am I doing now? How can I grow? That all helps.
For sure. It's also who you surround yourself with. Like, I'll be in a rut, and seeing one person that I know is someone that I look up to, or, someone that's doing so much, I'll try to hang out with them and, get like a new spark from them. And that's what essentially will help me get out of a rut. But if you're constantly hanging out with someone who's just always complaining and nagging, like, obviously you're going to go into that. Yeah. And I hate that. I'll go, let's say, see a client, and all they do is complain.
Right.
It's like, man, you have a beautiful, business. You're growing. Sure, there's difficult times, but smile a little bit. It's free. Like, smile.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to hang out with people that are also in the same sort of wavelength and energy. And energy is, like, very big. And, like, 10 years ago, if you asked me about energy, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Now it's like, energy is massive. If I meet you and the vibe you're giving off, and just that energy is positive, I love it. But some people are just negative, pessimistic. I don't like that. I want to be around people that are doing things, and they give good vibes and generally want to do cool things. Like, it's the first time we met, and we were talking earlier about shisha and all this stuff. And like, it's probably like 14 minutes into meeting each other, and we're hitting it off. So it's like, just energy's there.
You know what? From the minute you walked in the door, I like big smile on your face, and even the way you reply to the emails. I was just like, this guy is positive.
Yeah.
Right. And like you feed off of that. You're like,
for sure,
you're happy. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to be happy too. And then like all of a sudden, like, you start doing giveaways on podcasts. Okay. I want to go back to your Z103 days for a little bit. You did ad space, but did you work at the place? Like,
so yeah, I started off as like a promo. I was part of the promo team, and then we were doing events. So I've done activations for like big events like Booster Juice and like, coconut waters and like water brands, everything you think of we've done.
Right.
And then I got into the sales side, selling ad space, but at the same time I was also voicing commercials for radio stations all over Canada. So I used to voice commercials for like Wonderland and like, you know, Hyundai and Kia and all these
Oh,
guys.
so
it was like,
we don't know, but we've heard.
yeah,
you
you've heard it
before.
for sure, like
Yeah.
nightclubs and stuff. But at the same time, I was DJing too. So I was leveraging the fact that I was at C103.
At the radio station.
At the radio station. So
it's like live on air.
like the locations that would have like pop-up events, I would do like the events, or like clubs and stuff, I would do it. So it kind of all worked out. And at that time, like I was younger and like, you know, staying up late was fine and stuff.
Yeah.
But now, you know, it's a little bit more
Bro,
difficult.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Man.
So
I have
at like 11 o'clock, I'm yawning.
Yeah,
So
I have an active alarm clock. He's 3 years old.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit what I did the night before.
Yeah.
He's like jumping on me at 7 a.m.
So that's what it was before. But yeah, we did a lot at the radio station. We met a lot of cool people, obviously like the artists and, you know, just like even the employees and the staff. Like when I was a kid, I used to listen to Tony Monaco on the radio or like Hammer.
Drive at 5.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't care what I'm
Still
doing.
the best.
Bro, it like
Yeah.
I like most people are on Spotify or like I'm listening to, but at 5 o'clock, if I'm in my car, I'm like, I need Tony Monaco in my life.
It's just like, and I used to listen to these guys growing up. Like when I was a kid, I used to listen to Live to Airs and then working with them and then, you know, partying with them. Like I was at the station yesterday. I was seeing Hammer and Danny and all those guys. And
Yeah.
it's just a relationship I've built with them. It's been like over 10 years now that I know these guys and they're like super cool. And
I've never had the pleasure of meeting them, but I've heard.
we got to take you to the station. We got to take you to the station. We got to
Really?
you gotta,
Oh my
you gotta
gosh.
do it, yeah.
But it's just like they've been such a staple in my life growing up that I feel like I know them. You know, like I'm just like these are
And
my
they've just been
boys.
consistent. Like think about the station. Like they really haven't had much turnover.
Yeah,
It's been Danny, Tony, and Hammer. So those are the guys that have always been there.
that's so cool. Okay, one parting question before I let you go, because honestly, thank you so much for doing what you did today. What's
Of course.
one piece of advice or takeaway that you would give to somebody to listen to this that sees you and they're like, man, this guy's path is like mine, or I'd like, you know, what would you say to somebody that comes to you and says like, I want to be like you, or
Don't be shy. Take that first step. And I know I've always said this, but try to connect with people, try to talk to people who are doing it. And a lot of people will say no to you from the beginning because they're almost intimidated that someone new is coming into the space.
right?
But you will find that one person that will want to actually help you
Yeah,
and just learn from them. Put your ego aside. A lot of people have big egos. Put the ego aside
yeah.
and just learn. It doesn't matter what age you are. Put the ego aside and learn. If you have no idea what it is, just try to get some advice from the person that does. Take that first step and just go with it. And as long as you're passionate about it and you're working hard on it, I think it'll flourish and you'll do some great stuff. And yeah.
Nick, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank
Like getting to know you and learning about your story has been quite inspirational, even for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think that there's a lot of people that will hear this and see that they have a lot of similarities with somebody like you. The one thing I will say before we go is you undersell your best asset, which is that you are a great salesperson.
Thank you.
Right. And like, I think sales is the lifeblood of any business that you do. And if you can't sell your business, like it's game over. So the fact that you tapped into that and you've made it into a business is a blessing. You are a young, successful entrepreneur with what I can only say is a very, very high trajectory.
Thank you.
And I look forward to watching you grow and
Thank you
becoming
so much.
closer and closer with you over time.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Basem Hanna podcast. Thank you so much to Nick for being on the show. If you want to catch the full episode for today or any of our other previous full episodes, you can go to basemhanna.com. That's BASEMHANNA.com. Or you can find us on all the social channels, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're there. As always, your likes and shares are appreciated. Until next time, peace.